Oftentimes as creatives, the hardest part about making our art is starting our art. In this episode, I sit down with Gio. We have an honest conversation about how much he makes in a year as a 19-year-old creative entrepreneur. He has a passion to do his art, and it takes a business mindset as well to develop and build and continue to sow into that dream. Thank you, Inspire Business community, for partnering with us for this season of the Silo Podcast. Creatives, if you need a spot to work with other people, brainstorm, or have an office, Inspire's got you covered. We can't thank you enough for letting us host the podcast in your space. So beautiful, and it made for a perfect backdrop. There's a lot in here. I can't wait for you to hear it. Let's get into the episode. Welcome back to the Silo Podcast, everyone. We have Gio here with us today. I'm so hyped. This is the one I've been waiting for, the one that Scoot's been waiting for the longest time. We want to know all about this, and this is the first time we're meeting. So welcome.
Thank you guys for having me.
I'm so pumped for this conversation. You have no idea. What is it like to be a 19-year-old entrepreneur? Like, we're going to dive into it, but like, dang.
Go straight into it, huh? I mean, it's normal. I mean, I was born and raised. My dad, both of my parents are immigrants. They're from Mexico and stuff like that. And my dad came here when he was like 18. So he had nothing. As well as my mom, she came here when she was younger. And my dad ended up like building his own business little by little. So I feel like I just grew up in like in a business, field. And my dad always told me, it was like, hey, like, you should always be your own boss, blah, blah. And I feel like that stuck to me. So I decided at a young age, let me just create my own business. But I didn't know what to start. So I did a bunch of like businesses, small ones.
We all start off with like the shirt business kind of stuff.
Exactly. We did a bunch of I failed a lot of times. And then eventually I ended up liking photography, and I was like, let me put photography and business together, and decided to create this sort of business. And, it's amazing. I mean, I get to do what I love to do, and I get paid for it. So It's just like, now being young, it's like at 19, it's crazy, because a lot of people are also surprised. How old are you? I'm like 19.
Yeah.
19. You have your own like photography business, you do this? And I don't know. I mean, it's
normal to you, but for everyone else, it's like,
yeah, just because I've been doing it since I started my business when I was 17, turning 18. So I've been at it for a while now. But for other people, it's unusual. You would assume you're the most average, I would say, for entrepreneurship is like in their mid-20s.
Yeah. You're right out of high school is like you're still figuring this stuff out. Like, I don't even know if I want to do accounting or blah blah blah.
Yeah.
Like, what college am I going to? And here you are. Did that ever cross your mind, or did you know you had what you wanted?
I feel like I always knew. It's like, my dad's a very pushy man, so it's just like, don't work for anybody else, don't work for yourself. And like I said, it's just, I've grew up with that my entire life. So I guess he just sort of like just pushed me into it, and it's just been in my head ever since. And in high school, it was like, let me just do it, let me just go for it. And yeah, here we are.
Yeah, that's sick. That's so sick. I mean, just seeing like your Instagram stories of like you on big cycle walls, and then you have your home studio. Is that an apartment?
Yeah, so me and my dad, we bought a house years ago just to renovate it and rent it out to other people. But as of now, it's like it's still in construction and stuff, but the top floor is completely done. So I use that area as like my studio space for now. Eventually it'll be like sold off or rented to other people in like within a year and a half. So I still plenty enough time, just because like other studios are so expensive, like $1,300, $1,500. I'm like, damn,
Yeah.
So
it makes sense to just buy your own paper backdrop and do your own stuff.
So it's just like, I mean, me and my dad bought that place years ago. We fixed it up. Why not use that empty space? Because we have a bunch of empty spaces in that house. So why not use it? So I decided just to put my own studio there for a little bit. Eventually, we're moving into somewhere else. Like a warehouse is what I'm thinking soon. So we'll get to that later.
Yeah. So to me, that's so cool. And to everyone, I'm sure that's so cool to hear. I'm curious how what you do in business and photo relates to the environment that you're in of Philly. Like, is that a saturated market for you? Or do you feel like you've carved enough of a niche that like you can represent yourself well?
I would say, honestly, a lot of my businesses don't actually come from Philly. It comes from like outside of Philly. With photography, there's a bunch of photographers in Philly, so it's very hard to get work in Philadelphia. So a lot of my work are outside Philadelphia, in like the small little counties and stuff like that, or like an hour away on the opposite side of Philly. So that's where like the opposite side of Philly is where I get most of my work. But yeah, I feel like, a lot of people everyone has a different type of styles, and you have to sort of implant that. I first started off doing like basic stuff like family portraits and stuff like that. Get some little money on the side, and then eventually went to like the more creative side where I'm at now. But I'm sort of pushing into that like basic photo shoot stuff again, as of now. But
Yeah, and we'll get to that for sure. But like, I think for me, a lot of these questions are coming from like the small town guy looking at someone that is technically based out of Philly, but you're at like the King of Prussia, Philly kind of area. I would lump that together because I'm not from there. But yes, so like hearing all these questions, like these questions are probably the collective wondering of like, is it bad to be in Philly? Is it good to be in Philly? I can't tell personally. So it's interesting to hear that it's the other side of Philly or like New Jersey. Would it be New Jersey?
I will say no. I will say like more towards like our side, like Harrisburg side. Like it's like I'm here. Philadelphia is right here, so my work is more coming from the other side.
Okay, got it.
So yeah, that's where I'm getting most of my work. It's actually not
other side of Philly, meaning
other side,
towards York and Lancaster.
Towards exactly. So that's where I get mostly more of my work. But I do get a couple of bookings here and there in Philadelphia, but majority of them come from like the York side, Harrisburg side and stuff for sure.
You were very focused on what you do currently, which was a lot of retouching and like super like high-end modelly looks is how I'll put it. Can you explain what that is? And then we can transition that into like what you're kind of wanting to get into more now.
Yeah. So what I was getting into more fashion retouching photography, commercial stuff. So it'd be like more creative and fun things that I would do with like other models, and small little businesses that were interested in this type of stuff. So I decided to get into like fashion and retouching. Retouching was one of the biggest and most satisfying but most difficult thing to learn.
I was gonna say. But everyone I talked to today, I'm like, Gio, this guy's doing retouching. They're like, that is a mountain to climb.
Retouching is horrible, but the amount of hours and late nights that I spent watching YouTube, everything was off of YouTube. I am a proud person to say I graduated from YouTube University, photography, business, everything off of YouTube, especially retouching. So I did a lot of retouching off of YouTube, and it's hours and hours of long work, but yeah, it's difficult. I mean, but I feel like the fashion photos that I would do, it's necessary to have retouching because it's difficult to explain. But if you look at a raw image and then you don't retouch it, it looks plain and simple and ugly. Versus if you do retouch it, skin retouching is the one I do a lot more. It gives it like much more like. It gives a good taste to it. It gives like such colorful and sensational look to it for sure. Yeah. Compared to a raw image that's not retouched. It hasn't been spent for hours, So,
I mean, you do like dodging and burning, I would assume, is maybe the part that I would understand. And then from there, you're doing like frequency separation.
Exactly.
That kind of stuff. Yeah.
Frequency separation, retouching like the skin, basic like getting rid of like the pimples. Adding in eyebrows, drawing in eyebrows, filling in, adding in lashes. You don't have any lashes.
What do you spend like the most time on? Is it like
retouching skin, like skin retouching for sure? Yeah, separation and dodge and burn is what takes the most.
I was so fascinated. I'm just gonna look at you and be like, dude, I want to know so much more.
Yeah, no, it's difficult, and there's so many little videos out there that show you how to like. If you put like retouching, tutorials. They'll have all these settings already implanted in there, like their Photoshops, and they'll be like, okay, you're gonna need frequency separation, use this, but they don't show you how to get.
It's like they have like plugins or like actions already.
Exactly, actions already in there. Like, okay, we're gonna use frequency separation, and we're gonna do this. I'm like,
boop, and you're like,
how do you get frequency separation? That's the most difficult part. So you have to go, little by little, going deeper and deeper into sort of tools that you're gonna be needing for it, and it's so hard. But there are some hidden gems out there that you have to spend hours looking, because some of them only have like 100 views, 200 views, but give like 45-minute like tutorials on how to do it. It's like, this guy needs to be on top chart of YouTube for retouching, because it explains so well. But it's so difficult to find those people because they're not advertised as much, So, but yeah, retouching is difficult. But fashion wise, what I do now is that's where I mostly, always have my creativity on. As a kid, I always liked fashion. Street fashion was always my favorite. So I feel like fashion, retouching, put them together. It's amazing. It's beautiful.
You've done like a lot of model calls, maybe. I don't know if you would put it that way. You're just like, hey, you need to just get in here. I want to do this. Like, you're on this grind of just like, I want to keep refining myself and doing work that is portfolio worthy.
Yeah, no, and that's what I do. That's especially with Silo. Like, there are a couple models who like I would see you guys post and come and I would just reach out to them, like, hey, like I seen your work at at this event with Silo, blah blah. Like, do you want to like collab together? Because the thing I like is face structure, unique and different face structure. Everyone goes for like the like very sharp jawline, but I like different. Like, I like people who look different compared to others. That's what gives it like the look,
like character.
Exactly. So, I've recently worked with one who has like a big scar across his face, and for most people it'll look, he's not good looking or attractive, but for me it's like, this is art. This guy is top tier, like
living art.
Yes, he is. He's like the next model, but some people don't see that.
Yeah.
So it's just like, I love to work with people who are unique and different compared to everybody else. So I would go out and reach people, look up them online, Philly models, and then just scroll for hours and see who, So yeah, that's how I find my models. It's basically just look online, look up on Instagram.
I'm sure there's a lot of like word of mouth as well,
for sure,
from model to model.
Exactly. So hey, this guy, he does fashion photography. Then they DM me, he's like, hey, you did my friend's photo shoot, and I look like, you're okay, yeah, for sure. Like, you're like friends with them, all right, cool, So I'll hit them up and stuff like that. We'll plan something out if with my schedule. So.
Yeah, and from what I've realized or picked up from your stories is that before you were doing all this wide range of work, then you like maybe deleted your entire grid down to just that fashion. Is that the case?
Yeah. So what I did was, my entire Instagram was like 100 posts, and it was posts from like 2 years ago, from like when I was shooting black and white film, when I was starting off photography, and I had it there because I wanted to show people like my progress of what I had. But then I realized, in a like really business aspect, that people like are gonna want to scroll down, and it doesn't look too well. It doesn't look fitting, in my case at least, to have like really amazing photos and then like really basic and like beginner level photos at the bottom. People are gonna want to see, like, if they want to see a portfolio, they want to see like everything amazing. So I decided to just sort of not delete, but like archive all my other photos, the beginner ones that I had at first, and just have like the most craziest, best ones that I have. But yeah, so that's what my Instagram looks like now.
But that's changed recently.
Yeah, and it also changed recently as well. Yeah, listen.
I'm just curious, the mind changes that you have. That's important.
It's and in the business aspect, you have to make a lot of changes in order to figure out what you really want. And photography, it's amazing and all, but I sort of changed my mindset into the business aspect of growing my photography business. And I realized that like fashion, photography, studio work, it's really great. It's fun. It's amazing. But the income just doesn't bring as much as it was with like family portraits, weddings, and stuff like that. And there are like months where I would sort of struggle. I wouldn't perform my best compared to my other recent months, where I would be shooting weddings, family events, family portraits, whatever, maternities.
What do you think? Sorry, what do you think causes the not pay out as well in fashion?
Like, a lot of people they aren't looking for fashion photos, and some people aren't willing to spend crazy amount of money for
that. It takes to retouch
and stuff like that. People just want like plain simple pictures, and I'm very grateful that we'll have some people who are willing to spend that much money for my work and my art and my time and their time and stuff like that, which is amazing. But it's like, people aren't looking for that nowadays. People really want family pictures. They want memories of, the loved ones, or special moments in the life, which I understand. They would rather have family pictures than them in like a fur coat with like long boots and then a weird hat and, a crazy color background.
Yeah, there's different markets.
Yeah,
and
exactly.
whether you tap into them, in the fullest way or you dabble in the time, it's up to you.
And everyone's different. But yeah, I realized that most of the people who, I work with, who are my followers or people who look up to my work, they're more into like family and stuff. They more like memorizing moments rather than like crazy fashion ones. But well, yeah, of course, we'll have some people who like come in here and still want to do some fashion work. But yeah, I recently went back into my family, weddings, maternities, kids and stuff like that, just because that comes more income versus fashion.
Take the business side out. What are you the most passionate about?
Fashion, creative stuff. Yeah, for sure. That's one of the biggest things I really want. But unfortunately, as of now, I want to sort of stick to where the income comes in, just because, I want to move into a different area, like a warehouse, whatever, build the studio, and then implant full fashion and stuff like that. Because, I want to say the equipment matters when it comes to fashion, but equipment does sort of matter if you want to get the best results. But, you could get like a cheap camera and, create something, it'll be fashion.
Yeah.
But, it's just like the ideas that I have, I need certain lights, I need this and this and that. And that's just, me, myself. So I want to sort of focus on fashion later on in the future and really implant my time and like full time into it. But as of now, it's sort of like building it up, building the equipment, the team, the space, and then bam, have that all there later on.
What else, like what is the plan for the studio other than just doing that fashion stuff? But like,
I would say,
do you
like,
have a full vision?
Yeah, so I wanna buy a warehouse, a pretty like decent sized warehouse, and just start building things, like building like an infinity back wall, like those curved walls. Have a bunch of lighting equipment, do videos, so just sort of a place I can keep steady business, and a place where I can also just do my creative work that I really love to do. So that's sort of the goal that I want to do for sure.
I hear that. That's next steps for
That's
us
next
as
step.
well.
That's soon.
Yeah.
Soon.
Dude, building is like one of the most hard and like rewarding things.
Yeah,
it's like
for sure.
You can have the plan for like 2 years down the road, I want the studio, and then you can't just start thinking about it 2 years. It's like, I'm going to start right now to plan and get the people and get, start slowly building up the gear, whether that's like, hey, I buy one lens every quarter or something, leading up to that.
Slowly building it up. And it's difficult because it's like you have so many other responsibilities. Like you have rents, car insurance and all that, all that stuff that I have to pay off. And it's just like, it's hard. I always tell this to my friends. All my friends like, why are you stressing so much? You're like, go have fun. You're young. I'm like, man, listen, I'm like 18, 19 years old. I'm stressing like I'm 30 already. Like
yeah.
I have all these responsibilities and bills I have to be paying and stuff like that. And it's like, damn, like that shit. Sorry for cursing, but it sucks. It sucks.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, it's difficult. But like you said, you have to like implant it and really focus into it, because if you don't focus into it, you're not gonna succeed. You're not gonna go far. People will have that mindset and be like, I want to do it right now, and then they end up not doing it tomorrow or whatever, or they do it for a week and then they lose motivation. It's just a matter of
starting and then being consistent.
Exactly, it's motivation and consistency for sure. That's the most important, consistency.
I hear you. The consistency, because people do look at you long term, and they'll be like, okay, you dropped off after 2 weeks. What does that look like if we like either we work together or like just in general, like if this guy is just gonna do it for 2 weeks and doesn't see it take off immediately, does he not have faith in the full vision that can last longer?
Yeah, you have to have somebody who's just fully committed from the beginning. Like somebody like has their eyes sparkle when they speak. Like, yeah, warehouse, yeah, for sure. Like that's what you need. That's what you need. That's what I have. But you'll have some moments where it's like you'll fall down the rabbit hole, but just to build your way back up. But yeah, it's full focus right now is warehouse, because I want that so badly, for sure.
That's all that matters, that you have your eyes set forward on that. To speak on some of the pits that you've fallen in, I'm curious how, when you lost your gear, hopefully you're okay talking about it.
Sure. Yeah, no.
But that gear, you said was like around 10K or something.
Yeah. So
like, bring me through that story and like how you came back from that. Because like we felt that as a community. I was like, Scoot, this guy just lost all of his gear. What do we do? How can we help?
Yeah, so for those who don't know, I ended up getting robbed in Philadelphia. What happened was, I won't get too much in detail, but basically I was working at the nightclub the night before. I came to my friend's house, stayed over at my friend's house, just because the club is like 10 minutes away from where my friend's staying at, and it's in the Temple area in Philadelphia. And versus where I live, it's like a 45-minute drive. Compared to where they live, it's 10 minutes. So I was like, I'm gonna crash at your place. It's fine, whatever. And then next thing you know, I get robbed in daylight, and all my gear's gone.
It was in your car, right?
It was in my car, correct, yeah. And I just got robbed, and I couldn't really like I never got robbed before. I got robbed for my bike as a kid before multiple times. Got robbed for like snacks and stuff. Yeah. But
it's different when it's big boy money.
Yeah, it's different when it's like your hard-working money that you worked very hard for, and you're in shock, you're frozen, you can't really do much about it, and they ran away. And so It sucked to see all that happen. And, you know, that's like around 11 grand. Reported to the police, and they ended up never doing anything about it. When I walked to the police station, I knew right away that like, no, like the police are not going to care about some camera gear. They're not going to go out in their way. They have more important things to be doing than finding some kid's camera. And, you know, they hired an investigator and stuff like that, but ended up like not finding anything. So that was whatever. But I ended up, when that happened, a lot of my friends, they were like, hey, let me send you money, blah, blah. And I'm a very person who doesn't like, you know, like people getting help. It's my issues, my problems. Like I don't want other people getting involved in it. You know, and I understand the community loves me and they want to help me out and send me, you have somebody offer me $1,000 and it's just like, don't do that. You know, like so you could spend
you don't want to
that.
be like in debt to other people
Exactly,
either.
yeah.
Like there's
Exactly. So it's like you could do way more better with that than that. Like you have your own business, use that for something else, you know? So I ended up having some like savings that I ended up, you know, in my business that I have to sort of, you know, cash out. And it sucked to see $6 grand, $5 grand, you know. And I ended up using my first camera for a couple of days. I ended up doing like, I was busy that week too. So I did the entire week photo shoot. The entire week I ended up having like $2 grand. The entire week of just full work. Put a down payment for a camera, and then, you know, more work ended up coming, and I paid everything off. Cashed out some of the money from the business, and ended up rebuying all my gear, and eventually buying more gear than what I lost.
Yeah. So you lost basically your entire like photo livelihood.
Yeah.
That was the kit.
I had for those who don't, I had a Sony A7 IV, two of them. So that was just the camera itself is like $3 grand. So that's $6 grand right there. Had like, you know, like 3 lenses in my book bag, my entire box of SD cards that I had from previous clients. And thankfully, every client who I reached out to, they accepted it and like, hey, we're glad you're safe. Keep the money. We don't want the money back. And it was like 5 or 6 clients. They all understood. I mean, we're truly sorry about what happened. Don't worry about paying us back. You can always pay us back with another photo shoot in the future. So I'm like, okay, fine. You know, thank you. Flashes were there. You know, triggers were there too. Everything, my, you know, extra batteries, everything was gone. So all I had at the studio was my light setups and then like one flash that didn't even work. It was like, it would work here and there. And that's all I had. So it sucked for a little bit. But yeah, now we're back up. We got gears more than what it was before. So, you know.
So you built it back.
You got back. Yeah,
that's all good.
Yeah,
It's down 10,000, but you know, we're good. Do you feel like you learned something from that? I mean, it is basically just like someone stole stuff. It's not really, you can learn a ton like immediately, but like.
Yeah, no, I most definitely did. I had a friend of mine reach out to me, had a serious conversation. He was like, look, dude, like I got into like a very depressed moment for a week or so. And I wouldn't say I'm a really religious man, but I know I've been doing a lot of wrong in my life. Like, I'm not going to say what I did wrong, but there's a lot of wrong things I did in my life that I sort of like, I wasn't even mad. Like, I wasn't mad. I wasn't sad. I wasn't, you know, angry or anything. I was just sort of like in shock. But at the same time, I was like, I deserved it. And the reason why I said that is because I did a lot of bad things in my life recently. And a lot of things that I sort of regret. I made a lot of lies, you know, I've done a lot of bad things that I never got caught and ended up doing. And, you know, when that day happened, you know, it was sort of a sign for me from God saying, you know, you deserved it. This is what happens. And I was telling all my friends, like, look, I'm not even mad. Like, this was God's, like, will. He ended up doing it for me. Like, this was meant to happen because I know I sinned horribly, you know, for a lot of things. So, you know, I became a very religious person there for a moment. And even till now as well, like, just started believing in God a lot more because I knew from the beginning, like, look, I did a lot of wrong. I deserve it. And I did. I mean, honestly, till this day, I still think about it. I'm like, yeah, I deserve what happened. But I learned from my mistakes. And another thing I also learned was sort of, I was very flashy with my gear. I learned that. My friend came up to me and had a deep conversation. Like, look, you're very flashy with your stuff. You know, you like to show off your things. And blah,
dual
blah.
wielding the A7 IV, isn't it?
You know, showing the A7 IVs, you know, showing the $2,000 lens, showing your studio, you know, gear and stuff, which is cool and all. It's nice to flash it here and there, but you do it consistently. And, you know, I thought about it. I was like, yeah. He's like, you have like 800, 900 views a story. You know, like you never know who those 800, 900 people are. They know you, but you don't know them. So I ended up, being very cautious about showing my gear and stuff. So I learned a lot about that ever since the situation happened. But yeah, I learned a lot. I learned a lot for sure.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's a mistake that happened, and it happens to the best of us. You know?
I mean, there's literally nothing you can do. You parked your car on a street. Like, you can't say, "Oh, I'm not going to park my car on the street ever again." Like, that's not a lesson you can learn there. So, yeah, I get that. Tell me about your income. So we discussed earlier that we're okay with talking about this.
For sure.
I want to know what does it look like to be Gio?
This is everyone's big question. It's crazy because I don't really talk about this as much. But a lot of people ask me, so, I make pretty good living, but some people don't really know how much I really make, and there's only quite a few know. But right now, about to be my second year. I make my second year in October, end of October, beginning of November. I don't remember exactly when I started my business. I know it's around October, November, but I normally count it like first in November. But this November is about to be 2 years. But my first year ever in my business, I ended up making around like 47 grand, 48 grand, which wasn't too bad for my first year.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Now this year so far, I made around a little over 56 grand. So, we're pretty into it. With the camera gear, all that type of stuff. It's, but yeah, it's so far from this year, counting on revenue wise, I've made around a little over 55 grand for sure.
That's awesome.
So we're not even halfway through the year.
Yeah, and you're freaking 19. That's what 19, I keep saying.
Exactly, yeah.
I keep saying
but,
that.
Well, most of that money goes into college, because I'm still in college now.
Yeah.
College's expensive for sure.
Yeah.
And a bunch of other things that I have to, pay off. And I'm a big money spender, which is one of my biggest problems. And I have my assistant with me. She's always, no. Like, okay. But, yeah. No,
what does that breakdown look like? Like, is it in certain areas or like?
Yeah, it's in all areas. I mean, she's one of my closest friends. Shout out to Jody. She's my assistant. One of my best friends and also my assistant. She's been working with me for a while now, and it's just mostly everything. Like, hey, like, we need a spotlight for this photo shoot. It's 400. What's it look like? We just break it down. Hey, this week we're making this, Maybe it is good to blah blah. Or she'll always find a way. Hey, I found a YouTube video on how to like recreate a spotlight look instead of paying $400.
Yeah.
Because when's the next time you're gonna use a spotlight? I'm like,
it's gonna sit.
Yeah. So it's like, so like there's a YouTube video, we can run a projector out, use the toilet paper, just kick it like that, or we can make a spotlight on Photoshop. So we don't have to spend so much money. So she's always the one who's on my butt about not spending. But I'm a big spender just because I never really, I come from a low income family, so it's like I see a lot of.
If you have it,
if I have it, a little extra fundings I have, on the side, we'll spend. But I'm learning how not to spend as much as what I was before. Before I spent a lot, I feel like that's what sort of I could have made a little. What I made now is what I feel like I could have made last year, but I just spent a lot of stuff. It's a rookie mistake as an entrepreneur. You see 10 grand, 11 grand, 12 grand in your bank account, and you're like, I need to spend this. That's one of my biggest mistakes when it came to it. But yeah, first year was like 45 grand. This year's, as of now, 55 for sure.
Yeah. That's sick. How does that income break down then? Is it all shoots? Do you have like a side gig, or you do?
Yeah, mostly some of them are shoots. A little bit are donations from friends and family they want to support. And some of it is just sort of helping my dad out, because my dad has his own construction business. So, I'll do some jobs with him whenever I have a chance. Whenever he needs help, I'll help him out. And construction pays really well too, like really well. But it's hard,
Yeah, it's hard work
It's hard work. Yeah. I mean, I did construction for 8 years. I started when I was 8 years old and finished when I was 16, and then I ended up having small little other jobs and then photography. So yeah.
What does college look like for you right now? Or like, what are you even going for? Right? This is the first question.
I'm going for business marketing. Okay. And right now I'm in community college just because it's more financial, more easier. Makes sense. And, the college that I'm at right now, it's Monco. It's in Blue Bell, Pennsylvania. It's a very good school for a community college, one of the best ones in community college. It's super well. And then I'm transferring down to Fox Temple after. But school's hard. It's hard being a full-time student, full-time photographer. It's no joke. you got like 4 assignments you have to do, and you have like 6 deliveries in the exact same day. So it's difficult. And then try to do photo shoots like right after class, you know, straight to a photo shoot.
Yeah. When do you find time? Like, how do you put that in like a schedule?
It was, you know, for college wise, it was difficult because I would have to put my classes in the morning, you know, have my first class at 8 a.m., finish around 11, 12, and then have my photo shoots at 1:32. And I'll try to make it close to where I was. So it was difficult because I'll be super tired in the morning, learn for hours, and then go do a photo shoot, you know, still functioning my brain and being in the creative side. It's like the learning part is busy, the creative side is busy. So my brain is just, it's all over the place. And then I go home, take a nap. At nighttime, it's like homework and it's edit. And
yeah, your mind's always on.
Yeah.
As an entrepreneur, you're always on doing
go.
something.
Exactly. Yep.
Yeah. So we can talk about grind all we want, but do you actually find time to rest? And like, how are you sewing into your own well-being?
Recently, I recently have been super lazy. I'm gonna be honest. I've been super lazy. I don't know why. I've been playing Valorant. I don't know if you know Valorant, but I've been playing Valorant for a long time. I'm a Valorant grinder, and it's like that's all I do is play Val. You know, just go home, edit Val, and that's all I do. But before, you know, I'm starting to get back into the grind just because, you know, it's fun to take a break. But before it was like no break at all. It was work. It's like I'm in my desk all day. You know, it's tiring. People will be like, "You have the most easiest job in the world. You're on your balls, blah blah." But it's like they don't understand how many hours I'm in that desk. You know, I'm in there at like I wake up early. I'm a morning person, so I wake up at like 9 a.m., 10 a.m. And as soon as I wake up, brush my teeth, get something to eat, and then on my desk until like 7, 8 p.m. And that's it. You know, I obviously have a break in between, like an hour or so, Valorant, you know, YouTube. But that's it. That's all I do, and it's like every day, literally every day. So
that's awesome.
Yeah.
What would your advice be to someone that's just starting out, either in photography or like retouching? What would be something that you would want them immediately to know, or your younger self to know?
You know, equipment's not important. Equipment is not important. I learned that the hard way because I will buy a bunch of equipment that I thought I needed, didn't even need, or don't even use, or just dusting in my, you know, storage room. And it's horrible. And consistency, like we were mentioning before, like when it was like retouching, consistency is like very important, because if you're not consistent and you're not working hard for something, you're never gonna achieve it. So it's like right now I'm doing a lot of video stuff, like a lot of like, cool like recap stuff. So I'm determined in video stuff right now because I want to learn and master it, because I already learned and mastered portraits, family portraits. You know, I sort of mastered a little bit of fashion, just a little bit of studio lighting. So I want to like master like video stuff. So I'm like determined to learn how to edit and stuff like that. And another advice would be YouTube. You know, like people they underestimate YouTube. It's so strong. It's the most freest source in the world. And literally you can find anything on YouTube. But if it's not on YouTube, then like look it up on Google. There are like people who make blogs about it and stuff like that, and explain to you in good detail what to do. So YouTube is very important. Make sure you
and I think there's an opportunity there too of like,
exactly,
if you're searching super hard and see nothing that you're looking for, oh, well, guess what? Now there's the business idea, as long as you're passionate about it.
Yeah. And then, I mean, business, I learned business through school. A lot of my business marketing that I, you know, do now comes from college. So, you know, if you're thinking of dropping off college, I would say don't drop off college. I mean, for some people you can. In my case, there are moments where I'm making a pretty well living. Why go to school? But I learned that marketing for me in one case is very important. So I would say learn marketing if you want to really start a business, not even just photography, but just business in general.
Yeah. Do you think you need to go to college for creative work, or do you feel like business you can learn in college?
Creative work, you don't need to. If you go to school for arts and stuff, you can most definitely do it off of YouTube on your own free time. I don't really think you need. I mean, I don't know how it is. You could probably, but there's so many sources out there that you can learn. And, art, it's like you can create art itself, like you can make it, whatever it is, like it's art,
Yeah, but, it doesn't have to be perfect. It doesn't have to be anything that other people need to see.
Exactly.
It could be an expression of yourself.
And whatever, if you find it amazing, you like it, that's your art. You're not going to learn that from school. You're not going to have a professor show you like, hey, that doesn't look right. It's not art. It's I created this. It's my art.
Yeah.
I'm not going to judge you off of yours. So I feel like for art schools, I could be wrong. I could be wrong, but no, for art, I think you can most definitely do it without going to college. But business-wise, you could, it's helpful, it's useful, but A lot of people start their own businesses and don't even go to college, or they drop out of college and have big, successful businesses.
Your art is a reflection of yourself in some ways. I'm curious what that looks like from Gio's perspective.
Honestly, it's whatever. I mean, like I don't really think, I'm gonna be honest, all the photo shoots that I have, I don't really plan them out. You know, like all the photos you see on my Instagram, I don't plan them out. I don't have a sort of style. I just, whatever just pops into my mind is just like, you know, just shoot it, you know, and it's more if I just see an inspiration or something on Instagram. If I see an idea that I like and in a video, I just combine them together and it's like, let's just do something wacky, different, you know? So for me, it's like, I don't know. I don't sort of have a style. I don't have like a vision of what my work is. It's just art. It's just Gio. It's a bunch of just nonsense. And, you know, whatever happens, we just slap it on, you know? We'll try a bunch of different things. My photo shoots are like creative side. They're like 2 hours long, 3 hours long because we'll have a shoot for an hour with a white backdrop. I'm like, I don't like this. Let's try the black one. And I don't like this. Try the purple one. I don't like this, you know? So it's just a bunch of things. And it's, I don't know.
I think the mic drop moment for me right there was, I don't know, man. I'm just Gio. It's just my work.
Yeah, I don't. Yeah.
And to me, that is so indicative of what art is. It's like so personal that you don't have to know.
Exactly. It's just
you don't have to define what it is.
Exactly. It's just don't even know how to describe it. It's just I just think about it and I do it, and that's all it is. I wouldn't like give a specific word for it, like, you know, for what I do. It's just, I don't know. It's just what I do. I guess it's hard to explain, but yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's basically how I define my work. It's just blankness. It's whatever.
I love it. Thanks, Gio. Thank you so much for coming on.
Thank you guys.
Here.
Appreciate it. So this was amazing. This was really good. Good questions from you. Obviously, we can't leave you out with the quick questions, and obviously the audio man. Shout out to the audio man here. But yeah, this is amazing. This looks great, and thank you guys for having me.